day, ignorant millennials. Welcome to the first episode of I Am Money. So this is officially my new show. I'll be discussing money matters with you guys. Hopefully, I hope to impart more knowledge on how to spend your money, what to invest in, what certain events in the economy might mean for you. But obviously, this won't come frequently. I'll try to do them as much as I can. But today, I have my first official guest. I know you're probably laughing because you only see Kat on the show, but yeah, man. Who else knows about money than the man himself? Our very own person who's always working on a budget. Kat.
Oh, hey. Is this thing recording? Hey, mommy, I'm on. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Welcome to my show,
I'm not used to
Kat.
being a guest. How's it, sir?
I'm all good. So, today I think we're going to talk about how you manage your first salary.
Oh,
Obviously,
yes.
between you and I, it's going to be different.
Yes.
So I think I did things differently with my salary. You probably
Okay.
did things differently with
So,
yours.
so let's start from rags to riches, or how you want to start it?
Am I rags?
No,
Are
I'm
you
rags. I think you're the riches.
So basically, what I want to say is, we can start with you.
Yes.
How did you go about managing your first salary?
Oh, okay. So my first salary that I got was 5,000 rands, and it was a whole lot of money. I wish. No, it was very little. So it was 5,000 rands. It was a cadet program. Well, a cadet program is like an internship, basically. Okay. Yeah, so it's one of those with labor brokers. But maybe we'll cover that episode someday. We'll discuss the labor brokers.
Maybe I'll have you as a guest again.
Yeah. So basically, it was not the only one. It was a group of us who got like 5,000 rands. So from that 5,000 rands, I was staying in Pretoria. So it was kind of difficult, like, because you had to like budget, like, also because I was working like at a niche firm, investment company. So you had to be on time, and we had ridiculous targets, and literally you could lose your job like if you were late, like
5 minutes late or
like
late on your
consistently, because they also monitored you on your mouse. If your mouse was not moving, that means you're not working. Yes, yeah, that's what they.
Yeah, I wouldn't know for such things. But
Yeah,
you continue.
so I had to budget. So how train I spent like 2.5.
Why were you on the Gautrain train if you were on such a low budget, though? I mean,
So I stayed in Sunnyside, number one.
Okay.
All right. So where I stayed in Sunnyside, it made it almost impossible. So I need to climb like 2 or 3 taxis to eventually end up at the taxi rank.
Okay.
And from the taxi rank, I need to get on a taxi. So this place was in Melrose,
right.
So there's no taxi that goes straight from Melrose from Pretoria.
Okay.
So I need to climb a taxi either to Sandton, all right, or Rosebank and so forth, then get off there, then climb another taxi.
So why couldn't
and
you
so
just move closer and stay closer to your place of work?
How was I gonna afford?
Friends, I know, could stay in Tembisa or something. I know it's much closer.
No. But remember, this is the reality of most people.
Yes,
it's not
yes,
only
it's true.
my reality. It's that, you get a job, and some is like even worse than me, like social movement or whatever, and they also will get like maybe a 5,000 or even less. So so it was very difficult because lunch, when I got there, like people were not eating like lunch, bruh. Like, well, obviously people were not eating lunch because of, apart from the targets, the sale targets, but it's literally, you cannot really afford to eat lunch. In as much as the canteen was subsidized, like lunch meals were like 20 rand, like, and everything else at most or whatever. 24 rand I think was the most expensive. So in terms of budgeting, I can't really say I had a budget, but what I can say is that I like, like when you're on a diet, I had a cheat day. So on eating, on buying from the canteen was like a cheat day for me. It was like it was a Friday.
That's when
you look forward to it and so forth. And even buying cold drink, when I like, Friday drinks helped and so forth. But in terms of, I don't know.
So looking back now, what would you have done differently?
What would I have done differently? I don't think I would have done anything differently. I think it taught me the price of
value
money.
Of a rand.
Yes, because then literally, even like being sick, you don't want to be sick like if you've bought like a Gautrain monthly pass,
Oh,
yeah,
because
for like
then
for 5 days,
you
that
wasted-
sounded like you wait because
you wasted 5
Gautrain
days,
don't
no,
refund you
no,
for
no, they
that
definitely
thing.
don't.
Yeah, so I felt like you're wasting money and so forth. And yeah, so I actually learned like, okay, in as much as I say I didn't really have a budget or per se, in actual sense
But
I
you
did
had to
had a
manage
I
your
had a
money.
I had a yeah a budget. So obviously I was living worse. I can say for me it was worse than being a student because literally like even phone calls, you literally had to like make phone calls from the work phone. Or sorry, yes, you guys can come for me now. Yeah.
So, but then again, just from hearing kids' story, I can tell you right now that there's some people who actually can't set a budget because obviously how low they earn. But for you, it might be different. Then now it comes back to how can you do this on your very own salary? For some, I might say you might have to set a budget. I think for you, you can't be then putting trying to get a lot of expenses on your very small salary or however big. I feel like you should first budget without adding any debit orders onto your salary. First set a budget and see how much you're going to spend on it. My biggest mistake I made before actually receiving the money in my account is that I went ahead and bought a car. Now you usually think this is a lot of money that you're earning, so you're like, I can afford a car. But now after buying that car, you realize, hey, the car is permanent. It takes a lot from your salary. I mean, those debit orders hit you hard. So I think what most people should do is that don't first get on permanent expenditure on your salary before you know how you can actually spend it, because you might just set your budget. Then over and above, if you have a surplus, then you can add on as a budget, add on maybe if I put in a car, put in this, get clothes on a credit card or something, then how would I be paying them off monthly? Then you can see how is that going to work. But then firstly, before you actually get those things on, wait to see how you actually spend your money, because setting up a budget and actually spending your money is two different things. I don't know how you actually feel about that, because you can actually draw down a budget, but when it's actually time for you to spend, then you realize there's things that you don't really have planned.
So I think, well, with me, it was like 5K or whatever. So with you, I imagine it was something more than 5K. Oh, because you could clearly get a car before.
Well,
so did you have
$100, but
So did you have a budget eventually?
So that was my biggest mistake. I didn't actually have a budget. I think that's one thing that most of us, we don't really get taught, is how to budget for your salary. I think I just went in, I saw this money, I was like, man, this is enough money to sustain me. So I didn't really have a budget until you realize halfway down the month is like, actually, this is really not a lot of money. So I think that was my biggest mistake as well. I didn't have a budget. And also,
So, no, that's actually very true. I guess for me as well, I think the other thing that maybe counted is that I've always like loved money and whatever. So even in as much as I was getting that 5,000 whatever, I was already, because of having studied accounting, familiar with the whole JSC and share type of thing and whatever. So they were like, shares were like my 5 rand. So even from that 5,000, I'd put like 100 or 200 and be like, buy just kancane or whatever.
Man, you did more than me. You did more than me. And I could safely say I was not on 5,000. But then again, so also just to bring it to you, what do you think of people who then say that, how when you finish varsity or whatever the case is, and you get your first job, then they're like, you know what, the first salary belongs to the family as a part of a thank you.
So I don't think that should be a standard, right? The reason why I say I don't think that should be a standard is because there's other pressures as well that come from actually just working in itself. So I don't think we should. I think if you can, then that's great. But if you can't, then that it shouldn't be something that you feel that you have to do. So it's kind of like with black tax, basically. So it's basically with black tax, it's not, because that first thing is like a black tax, in essence. So you don't have to do it then if it really cripples you. But eventually you're going to have to do it. So it's one of those. So you don't have to give them your first salary. You can give them your first bonus, rather.
Okay, that's true. My thinking is that if you're going to have to do that, but then who actually deserves your first salary? I mean, you went through all those things, varsity, you put in the hard yards. I mean, yes, they supported you, but then you actually had to do it. Without you, their support would have been nothing. So what I'm saying is, with that first salary, spoil yourself, man. You are the important one. I mean, they can, they have so many salaries after that they can enjoy, so many salaries that they can actually spend on. So my take on that is that spoil yourself on your first salary. Then from then on, you can start planning out my family, this, my family, that.
I actually agree with you on
because
that.
Like Kat also said, maybe your bonus, you could partition your bonus to actually then give it to your folks. Yeah. But I think as a first salary, that's something for you. Like, you know what, this is a reward to myself for whatever I've went through.
Yes.
So yeah. So guys, I think this is the end of my first show. Let me know what you think. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on Ignorant Millennials, because yeah, we still I am. And Kat, thank you for coming in, man.
Pleasure, man. I appreciate the honor of you having me as your first guest, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least I broke somebody's virginity in life.